My name is Hester, and I'm a Chicago Hyde Park resident. I decided to use medical cannabis after I tried physical therapy, several medications, dry needling, you name it, for pain, specifically in my right thigh, as a result of having a pseudo tumor cut out of my iliacus muscle. And that's something that is going to give me pain. So nothing was helping, and I decided to try medical marijuana for that reason. After I told my doctor that I wanted to use medical marijuana, she said that she approved of it because we had tried everything. I've been with her for some time, and she knew about the pain and said that it was not going to get better. And then I suggested the medical marijuana, and she agreed. I would say approximately 3 months. At first I thought the process was going to be intimidating, but it wasn't. I did it all by myself, basically online and making a few phone calls. Since I've started using medical marijuana, I've noticed that I still exercise, but I don't have to take physical therapy as much as I used to. The most important thing is that the pain in my right thigh, which was debilitating, has minimalized. It's never going to go away, but it has minimalized to the point that it no longer severely affects my quality of life. I still use medical drugs, and that's because once I started using the medical marijuana, I thought I could leave all my medical drugs alone. However, my doctors reminded me that I had arthritis, and medical marijuana is great for easing the pain, but that arthritis is going to be there, and they didn't want me to stop my medication. So we decided that we would wait a while, and maybe we'd talk about that later. That's still a work in progress. I prefer to use, right now I prefer to use patches. And you can see I have on a patch here. And this patch can be cut. It's an all-day patch. It lasts all day, or I would say for 12 hours. You can cut it in halves, you can cut it in fourths. So if I'm going on an all-day trip somewhere, this is something, like today I had an early church meeting. I'm talking to you now, and I'll probably be going somewhere later today. So that means I want to be sure that I can function, and I can do that. This is a CBD patch, and from what little I've learned about marijuana, it's astonishing to me that, and I may have this wrong, but I understand that CBD is something that we all have some of in our system, and it helps to monitor pain. And so there's a certain amount of the THC in this CBD, which is required to make the CBD work, but this is not your usual, what we usually think of as marijuana on my arm, and it's helping with the pain. I tried other forms of cannabis, medical cannabis, and I would say it's still a work in progress. I tried the edibles. My doctor didn't want me taking edibles. I think that's because you can't control it as much taking the medical, taking the edible cannabis. I've tried the tincture, that worked well, but I didn't want to walk around out in public putting drops in my mouth. So right now the patch is working well for me, and I'm thinking I might consider the capsules because that might be less expensive than the patch, but it's a work in progress, and since it's helping me for now, I'm willing to keep trying it until I find the exact right match for me. Right now, I'm spending approximately $75 to $100 a month. I get a discount because I'm a senior citizen, but I think with the patches, I've seen that I'm not going to. They're lasting me a little longer because I am cutting them into 4 pieces. So so far it's about $100 or a little less than $100 a month. Since I've been using medical marijuana, I haven't been shy about talking to people about it. And one of the things I find most commonly is that everybody thinks I must be high or doped up, and they're, you know. And then I try to explain about the CBD, which is not, let's just say, mind-altering. It's not, but it requires a small percentage of the THC, which is mind-altering. And I tell them I'm a lay person, I'm not an expert on this, but to be assured that I'm not walking around high. And that's the thing I found most amusing. And then after that, I found many people, just even the other day, a friend of mine's father has Alzheimer's, and she said that her doctor or his doctor had suggested to her that they might consider that for him. That's a different medical issue than my medical issue, but I'm amazed that we haven't heard more in terms of educating the public about the benefits that can be had without one being high. So I found that when I made application for medical marijuana, I found that I didn't know much about dispensaries, and I really wasn't able to find out much about the particular dispensaries. And I think it would be useful if people could take a look at dispensaries in terms of whether it's in a neighborhood that you prefer to go to. That would be my biggest complaint, or what I found when I was looking for dispensaries. The people are friendly. I just have to say that I feel the particular dispensary I go to is in an isolated area, at least to me, and I'd prefer one that's more in a neighborhood. I find that in using medical cannabis, my daily routine has improved. I paint, I take classes, and I was at a point where I couldn't sit down and I couldn't stand up for the 2.5-hour class that I take. And I find now with the medical marijuana that I can decide how I'm going to position myself for a painting, to complete a painting or start a painting, and I can retain that position, and that's just wonderful. That makes a world of difference for me. I find that the state's program, I think, needs a little help, a little improvement. It just might be me, but I felt I didn't have a complete understanding of the total cost of applying for medical marijuana. I found that once I understood, and I did figure this out, that the idea of, for me, of getting a 3-year license makes far more sense than going every year to reapply, because there is a waiting period. And with the 3-year license, which is the one that I applied for, the cost was relatively less expensive, and for me, I don't have to think about it or go through the process, because the process is not difficult, but it can be frustrating. Fingerprints, photograph, standing in a line to wait for all of that, and to do that once every 3 years is much better than doing it every year.
Thank you so much for your time.
Okay.
That was wonderful.
Oh, good.